Lieutenant Commander Jack Morris stood at the viewport of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching the stars. His blue eyes, narrowed as a blinking red dot, appeared on the tactical display. An unknown vessel had just crossed the outer defense perimeter, moving with purpose toward Earth. "Sir, we've got an unidentified craft entering Sector 7, called out Communications Officer Lisa Gray. Her fingers moved quickly across her console. "It's not responding to standard hails." Jack moved closer, studying the readings. The ship was unlike anything in Earth's database. Sleek, with an unusual energy signature and nearly twice the size of Earth's largest vessel. "How did it get past the early warning systems?" Jack asked, feeling the familiar tension in his shoulders that came with potential threats. "Unknown, sir. It seems to have some kind of cloaking technology we haven't encountered before." Admiral Frank Weber entered the command center, his weathered face grim. "What's the situation, Morris?" "Unknown alien vessel, sir. Large, technologically advanced, and ignoring our communications." The main screen flickered, and everyone on the bridge froze. A figure appeared, tall, with mottled green-gray skin, 4 arms, and vertical pupils and large yellow eyes. The alien's head was crested with bony ridges, and it wore what appeared to be ceremonial armor. "Inhabitants of the third planet," the alien spoke, its voice translated through the computer with a metallic edge. "I am General Vixthar of the Krazil Empire. Your world now falls within our expansion zone. Prepare for evaluation and possible integration into our dominion." Admiral Weber stepped forward. "This is Admiral Weber of the Earth Defense Fleet. We are a sovereign planet, and not interested in being integrated into any empire." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your interest is irrelevant. The evaluation will proceed. Prepare to receive our diplomatic envoy within your planetary rotation. Resistance would be unwise." The transmission cut off. "Well, that was friendly," Jack muttered. Admiral Weber turned to Jack. "Morris, you're our best xenobiologist. I want you as our representative when these Krazil arrive." Jack nodded, though his stomach tightened. "Yes, sir. I'll review what data we gathered from their transmission immediately." 6 hours later, Jack sat in his quarters reviewing the scans of the Krazil ship and the brief communication. Scout, his golden retriever, sensed his tension and placed his head on Jack's knee. "What do you think, buddy?" Jack scratched behind Scout's ears. "They don't seem like the friendly type." A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. It was Admiral Weber. "Any insights, Morris?" Jack gestured to his notes. "The Krazil ship is heavily armed, but in a defensive configuration. Their technology is advanced, but I'm more interested in their biology. Based on their physical features, I believe they evolved from prey species. Those vertical pupils, the position of their eyes, the heightened awareness. They're built to detect predators. And how does that help us? It might explain their expansionist behavior, security through dominance. It might also give us psychological insights we can use in negotiations." Admiral Weber nodded slowly. "The Council has agreed to meet their envoy on Neutral Station 1. You'll lead our team." Jack stood, straightening his uniform. "I'll be ready, sir." As the Admiral turned to leave, Scout barked once, wagging his tail. Weber looked at the dog with irritation. "And keep that animal confined during the meeting. The last thing we need is to trigger some interstellar incident because your pet startled our visitors." After the Admiral left, Jack knelt beside Scout, thinking. Something about the Krazil's biology kept nagging at him. He scratched Scout's head again, watching those warm, forward-facing eyes look back at him with trust. "Actually," Jack said quietly to himself, "I think you might be coming with me after all." Neutral Station 1 hung in space between Earth's moon and the massive Krazil vessel. The station's central chamber had been prepared for the diplomatic meeting, with the human delegation arriving first. Jack Morris stood with Admiral Weber, Lisa Gray, and 2 security officers, all wearing formal Earth Defense Fleet uniforms. Jack had made a decision that morning that still made him nervous. Despite direct orders, Scout was sitting calmly at his side, specially groomed, and wearing his service animal vest. "Morris, what is that dog doing here?" Admiral Weber hissed. "I specifically told you." "Sir, I believe Scout could be a valuable asset," Jack whispered back. "The Krezil evolved from prey species. I want to observe their reactions to different stimuli." Weber's face reddened. "This isn't a science experiment, Lieutenant Commander. This is." The doors at the far end of the chamber slid open with a hydraulic hiss, cutting off the Admiral's reprimand. The human delegation straightened as the Krezil entered. General Vixthard was even more imposing in person. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, his armored body moved with surprising grace. Behind him followed 6 other Krezil, all armed with strange weapons that looked like they had grown rather than been manufactured. Representatives of Earth, Vixthar's translator device converted his clicks and hisses into English. "I am pleased you have chosen the path of wisdom by agreeing to this meeting." Admiral Weber stepped forward. "We are here to discuss peaceful relations, General. Earth has no quarrel with the Krezil Empire." Vixthar's vertical pupils narrowed. "Peace is available through submission. The Krezil Empire has brought 14 species into its fold. Some resisted, none prevailed." Jack studied the aliens carefully. Despite their intimidating appearance, he noticed how their eyes constantly scanned the room, how they positioned themselves with clear escape routes, how they tensed at sudden movements. Classic prey behaviors. "The terms of integration are simple," Vixthar continued. "Earth will provide resources and accept Krezil governance. In return, you receive protection and technological advancement. And if we decline?" Lisa Gray asked. "Then we would be forced to demonstrate our military superiority." Vixthar's upper arms spread wide. "We have studied your species. You are physically weak, lacking natural defenses, and your technology is primitive. Resistance would only bring suffering." During this exchange, Scout had been sitting quietly beside Jack, but now the dog's attention was caught by something about the aliens. His tail began to wag, and before Jack could tighten his grip on the leash, Scout stood and moved forward, curious and friendly, as was his nature. The reaction was immediate and extraordinary. General Vixthar let out a high-pitched shriek that the translator didn't even attempt to interpret. His 4 arms raised in defensive postures, and his entire body seemed to tremble. "Unleash the beast," he screamed, backing away rapidly. "They've brought a predator." Battle stations. The other Krezil reacted similarly, some drawing weapons while others simply fled toward the door. Several tripped over each other in their haste to escape. Meanwhile, Scout simply sat down, head tilted in confusion at the commotion, tail still wagging gently. The humans stood in stunned silence as the Krezil delegation retreated in panic. Within moments, all the aliens had fled the chamber, leaving only the bewildered Earth representatives. Admiral Weber turned slowly to Jack, his expression a mixture of shock and disbelief. "Morris," he said carefully, "would you care to explain what just happened?" Jack looked down at Scout, who gazed back up with innocent brown eyes, then at the doors through which the mighty Krezil warriors had just fled in terror. "I believe," Jack said slowly, "we may have just discovered an unexpected advantage in our negotiations." An emergency meeting was called aboard Earth Defense Station Alpha following the disastrous first contact. Jack Morris sat beside Intelligence Officer Olivia Martinez, who had been analyzing all available data on the Krezil. Scout lay quietly under the conference table, occasionally sighing in his sleep. "Let me get this straight," General Patel said, leaning forward. "The mighty Krezil Empire, which has apparently conquered 14 species, ran away from a golden retriever." Olivia activated the holographic display. "It makes perfect sense when you understand their evolutionary history." The display showed anatomical scans of the Krezil. "We've analyzed their physical structure. Everything about them suggests they evolved as prey animals on their homeworld." She highlighted various features as she explained. vertical pupils for wide peripheral vision, eyes positioned on the sides of their head, multiple limbs for quick escape. Even their social structure is built around group protection. Jack nodded. That's what I suspected. And consider this. Their ships are heavily armed, but primarily designed with defensive capabilities. They conquer through intimidation and overwhelming numbers, not through direct confrontation. And dogs? Admiral Weber asked, glancing under the table at Scout. Dogs are the perfect storm for triggering their fear response, Olivia explained. Forward-facing eyes, visible teeth, predatory movement patterns. To the Kruzil, Scout might as well be a monster from their nightmares. Lisa Gray, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. So we accidentally brought their worst fear to a diplomatic meeting. What does this mean for Earth? The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. It means we have leverage, General Patel said finally. If they're terrified of ordinary Earth animals, perhaps we can use that. Jack shook his head. With respect, sir, I don't think that's the right approach. Using their fear against them will only reinforce their view that conquest is necessary for survival. Morris has a point, Olivia added. Based on their psychology, threatening the Kruzil could push them toward extreme measures. Fear-driven species can be unpredictable when cornered. Admiral Weber tapped his fingers on the table. What do you suggest, then? Honesty, Jack said simply. We explain what dogs actually are. Domesticated companions who help and protect us. We show them that humans have formed symbiotic relationships with former predator species. You think we should just tell them that the beast they feared is actually a pet? General Patel sounded incredulous. Yes, Jack replied. And I think it could change everything about how they see us. Explain, Weber said. Jack leaned forward. The Kruzil see themselves as strong because they conquer through fear and force. But what if we show them a different kind of strength? The ability to form bonds with other species, even those that once might have hunted our ancestors. Olivia nodded slowly. It could challenge their entire worldview. If humans can turn natural predators into allies, what might that suggest about our capabilities? It's a risk, Lisa pointed out. They might see it as weakness or deception. Or, Jack countered, they might see it as something entirely new, something they've never encountered in those 14 conquered species. The room fell silent again as everyone considered the options. Under the table, Scout woke up and nudged Jack's hand with his nose. Admiral Weber watched this interaction, his expression thoughtful. Morris, you're suggesting we use honesty as a strategic tool. I'm suggesting we use understanding, sir. The Kruzil conquer because they're afraid. What if we give them a reason not to be? General Patel still looked skeptical, but Admiral Weber was nodding slowly. Arrange another meeting, Weber ordered. But this time, we go in with full knowledge of what we're dealing with. He looked at Scout, then back to Jack. And bring your dog, Lieutenant Commander. But this time, let's properly introduce him. It took 3 Earth days to convince the Kruzil to agree to another meeting. This time, they insisted on a video conference first, refusing to be in the same physical space as the beast. Jack sat in the communications room with Scout calmly resting beside him, while Admiral Weber and Olivia Martinez flanked him on either side. When General Vixtar's image appeared on screen, his eyes immediately locked onto Scout. The alien visibly tensed, even through the safety of a video transmission. You bring the predator to mock us, Vixtar accused, his translator giving his words a harsh edge. Not at all, Jack replied gently. We wanted to explain something important about humans that you may not understand. He placed his hand on Scout's head. This is Scout. He's what we call a dog. Dogs have been companions to humans for thousands of years. Vixtar's head tilted in a gesture of disbelief. Companions. That creature is clearly a hunting beast. His ancestors were, Jack acknowledged. But over many generations, humans formed a bond with dogs. We selectively bred them to enhance certain traits: loyalty, gentleness, intelligence. You modified a predator species to serve you. For the first time, Vixthar seemed more curious than frightened. Jack scratched Scout behind the ears, and the dog's tail wagged happily. Not to serve us, exactly. It's a partnership. Scout helps me, and I care for him. He's trained to alert me to dangers, to find lost people, to provide comfort. Impossible, one of the Krozil scientists behind Vixthar murmured, but the general held up one of his 4 hands to silence the comment. We would like to demonstrate, Admiral Weber said. If you would agree to meet in person again, we can show you how humans and dogs work together. After some hesitation and many safety assurances, the Krozil agreed. 2 hours later, they met in the same neutral space, though this time the Krozil stayed much farther away, their weapons visibly ready. Jack led Scout to the center of the room. First, I want to show you that Scout is gentle and responds to commands. He asked Scout to sit, stay, lie down, and roll over. The dog performed each task perfectly, earning a small treat each time. The Krozil watched in fascination, their postures gradually becoming less defensive. Now, I'll show you how we work together. Jack set up a simple demonstration where he hid an object, then commanded, Scout, find it. The golden retriever sniffed excitedly around the room before locating the hidden item and bringing it back to Jack. In emergency situations, dogs can find people trapped under collapsed buildings or lost in wilderness. They can detect certain illnesses before our technology can. Some are trained to guide humans who cannot see. Vixthar took a cautious step forward. Your species tamed predators and made them helpers. We formed a bond, Jack corrected gently, based on mutual benefit and trust. This relationship shaped both our species over time. Olivia added, throughout human history, we've learned to cooperate with many different species. It's one of our greatest strengths. Vixthar was silent for a long moment, his vertical pupils dilating slightly as he studied Scout. This is unknown among the species we have encountered. The strong dominate, the weak submit. This partnership concept is foreign. Would you like to meet Scout properly? Jack asked. I promise he won't harm you. The room grew tense as Vixthar considered the offer. Finally, he gave what appeared to be a Krozil gesture of agreement. Jack whispered a command to Scout, who sat perfectly still as the imposing alien general approached cautiously. When Vixthar extended one trembling hand, Scout gently sniffed it without moving otherwise. He's greeting you, Jack explained. This is how dogs learn who's friendly. Remarkable, Vixthar said quietly. Perhaps we have misjudged humans in more ways than one. There is more we must discuss, General Vixthar said, after spending several minutes observing Scout from a careful distance. The Krozil commander had regained some composure, though he still flinched when Scout's tail wagged too enthusiastically. The meeting had moved to a larger conference room aboard Neutral Station 1. Maps of the galaxy hovered as holograms above the central table. Our empire's expansion is not driven solely by ambition, Vixthar admitted. We face threats you do not yet know. With a gesture from one of his 4 arms, the holographic display changed to show a dark mass moving through space. The image was unclear, like a shadow without defined edges. The Void Horde, Vixthar said simply. A collective of species that devour everything in their path. They do not communicate. They do not negotiate. They consume. Jack leaned forward. Why haven't we detected them? They remain in the outer reaches of this galactic arm. But they are moving inward. Vixthar's vertical pupils narrowed. The Krozil Empire formed as a defense against such threats. The species we have incorporated gain our protection. Admiral Weber's expression hardened. So you conquer others to create a buffer zone. To create strength through unity, Vixthar corrected. Though I now question our methods. Jack glanced at Scout, who had settled at his feet. You said our relationship with dogs is unknown among species you've encountered. Has no other species managed to form partnerships with predators? None, Vixthar confirmed. Most flee from predators. some fight them. But cooperation? Never. Olivia studied the galactic map thoughtfully. General, are there worlds the Krazil have been unable to utilize because of indigenous predator species? Vixthar hesitated before answering. Many. Resource-rich worlds we cannot safely colonize. What if, Jack said slowly, humans could help with that? What if, instead of becoming another conquered species in your empire, we became partners? The alien commander's head tilted in confusion. Explain. Humans have expertise in animal behavior and training. We understand predator psychology. We might be able to help the Krazil access those worlds you've avoided. Admiral Weber caught on quickly. In exchange for technological sharing and mutual defense. Vixthar stood very still, all four arms held close to his body. A posture Jack had learned indicated deep thought among the Krazil. You propose an alliance rather than submission, Vixthar said finally. This is unprecedented, but potentially beneficial to both our species, Jack pointed out, especially with the Void Horde approaching. Vixthar's gaze shifted to Scout again. Your ability to form bonds with predators, could this be applied to other species? Possibly, Jack said. We would need to study specific cases, but the principles often translate. The Krazil commander made a clicking sound that the translator didn't interpret, possibly a thoughtful noise. There is a world, Vixthar said after a moment. Nexus 7. Rich in minerals crucial for our advanced propulsion systems, but the surface is dominated by apex predators similar to. He gestured at Scout. Though much larger and without your domestication. You're suggesting a test case, Admiral Weber realized. Yes. A joint mission. If humans can demonstrate this partnership ability with the predators of Nexus 7, it would prove the value of your proposed alliance. Jack nodded slowly. I think we could assemble a team for that. Xenobiologists, animal behavior specialists, security personnel. With your dogs? Vixthar asked, still seeming uncomfortable with the concept. Yes, with specially trained service animals, Jack confirmed. They could be essential for safely navigating predator territories. Vixthar extended his upper right arm in what appeared to be a formal gesture. Then we have a proposal. A joint mission to Nexus 7. If successful, we will discuss this alliance concept further. Admiral Weber stood and reached out to shake the offered limb. Agreed. And General, this is how humans form partnerships, not through conquest, but through cooperation. The Earth Krazil expedition vessel entered orbit around Nexus 7, a lush green world with vast oceans and thick forests. Jack Morris stood on the bridge alongside Olivia Martinez, Admiral Weber, and General Vixthar, looking down at what would be their testing ground. Surface scans show high concentrations of the minerals your people need, Jack said, pointing to glowing areas on the display. Unfortunately, they're also in regions with the highest predator activity. Vixthar made a nervous clicking sound. Our previous survey teams barely escaped. The creatures hunted them relentlessly. That's why we brought experts, Jack replied, gesturing to the human team assembled behind them. The landing party consisted of 3 Krazil scientists, 4 human specialists, and 2 highly trained dogs, Scout and a Belgian Malinois named Rex. They touched down in a small clearing surrounded by towering purple-tinged trees. Stay alert, Jack warned as the ramp lowered. We observe first, interact only when necessary. The Krazil scientists huddled close together, their eyes constantly scanning the tree line. Jack noticed their breathing quickened as Scout and Rex exited the ship, though they had spent days getting used to the dogs during the journey. The dogs will warn us if anything approaches, Olivia explained, trying to reassure the aliens. Their senses are much sharper than ours. They set up a base camp with sensor perimeters, then began their mineral survey. For the first few hours, they encountered only small creatures that scurried away at their approach. The Krazil gradually relaxed, fascinated by how the humans worked in tandem with the dogs. Then Rex froze, his ears perking up. A low growl rumbled in his throat. "Something's coming," warned Kate Wilson, Rex's handler. "Everyone stay still." From the underbrush emerged a creature that resembled a cross between a tiger and a wolf, with 6 legs and iridescent scales along its spine. It was nearly twice the size of an earth tiger, its fangs gleaming in the alien sunlight. The Krozil scientists trembled visibly, their instincts screaming at them to flee. But Jack raised his hand, signaling everyone to remain calm. "This is a dominance display," he whispered. "It's establishing territory. Don't run. That triggers the chase instinct." The predator padded closer, sniffing the air. Rex and Scout stood their ground, positioned protectively in front of the team but not advancing. "What are they doing?" Visceral, one of the Krozil scientists, asked in a terrified whisper. "Showing that we're neither prey nor threat," Jack explained. "The dogs understand predator body language. They're communicating that we're not worth the risk of a fight." The creature circled them for several tense minutes while the dogs maintained their guardian positions. Finally, apparently deciding they weren't worth the trouble, the predator snorted and melted back into the forest. Visceral's vertical pupils were wide with astonishment. "The beasts protected us." "That's what partners do," Jack said simply. Over the next 3 days, they established a working relationship with the local ecosystem. The dogs detected predators before they approached, allowing the team to either avoid confrontations or manage them through body language and non-threatening behavior. The Krozil scientists watched and learned, gradually overcoming generations of instinctual fear. On the final day, disaster struck. As they collected their most valuable mineral samples yet, a landslide trapped Visceral beneath fallen rocks. Worse, the commotion attracted a pack of the tiger-wolf creatures. "We must flee," cried another Krozil scientist, backing toward the ship. "No," Jack said firmly. "We don't abandon our team members." While Olivia and Kate worked to free Visceral, Jack, Scout, and Rex formed a protective circle around them. The predators approached cautiously, sensing vulnerability. Jack looked the lead predator directly in the eyes, standing tall while giving Scout and Rex specific commands. The dogs positioned themselves perfectly, not aggressive but unmistakably defensive. The standoff lasted nearly 20 minutes until Visceral was finally freed. Slowly, maintaining their protective formation, the team backed toward their ship. "I do not understand," Visceral said once they were safely aboard. "Those creatures could have killed you all. Why risk everything for me?" Jack smiled. "Because that's what true strength is, not dominating through fear, but protecting those who depend on you." The Grand Meeting Hall of Earth Defense Station Alpha had been transformed for the historic occasion. Banners displaying both Earth's symbol and the geometric patterns of the Krozil Empire hung side by side. Representatives from both species filled the room, with humans and Krozil mingling in small groups, their earlier fear replaced by cautious curiosity. Jack Morris stood near the central platform, Scout sitting calmly at his side. The golden retriever had become something of a celebrity among the Krozil, who now regarded him with a mix of respect and lingering wariness. Lieutenant Commander Morris, Admiral Weber approached with a smile. "This wouldn't be happening without you and your furry friend here." Jack nodded. "Scout deserves all the credit, sir. He's the one who showed the Krozil a different way to view the universe." On the other side of the room, General Vixthar was deep in conversation with Olivia Martinez. The Krozil commander had changed since the Nexus 7 mission. He stood taller, his posture less defensive, though he still startled at sudden movements. The room fell silent as Vixthar and Admiral Weber moved to the central platform. Between them sat an ornate document, the alliance treaty between Earth and the Krozil Empire. "Today marks a turning point for both our peoples," Vixthar began. "For generations, the Krozil have believed that safety came only through domination. We conquered because we feared being conquered." He gestured toward Jack and Scout. "Humans have shown us another path. They have taught us that there is strength in cooperation that cannot be found in conquest. Admiral Weber stepped forward. This treaty establishes a true partnership. Earth will provide expertise in dealing with predator species, opening dozens of worlds previously inaccessible to the Krozil. In return, the Empire will share technology and join with us in preparing defenses against the Void Horde. As the leaders signed the document, Jack felt a sense of pride unlike anything he had experienced before. What had begun with a simple misunderstanding about a dog had transformed into an interstellar alliance. After the ceremony, Jack found himself approached by Vizral, the scientist who had been trapped on Nexus 7. "Your actions that day changed everything for me," the Krozil said softly. "I have volunteered to lead our first scientific outpost on Nexus 7, working alongside your animal behavior specialists." "That's wonderful," Jack replied. "It won't always be easy, but I think you'll find it rewarding." "The old ways of thinking are difficult to change," Vizral admitted. "Many among my people still struggle to understand why you would risk yourselves for others, why you would form bonds with creatures that could harm you." Jack smiled. "Maybe that's the true lesson in all this. Humans aren't special because we're strong or smart. We're special because we learned long ago that cooperation often works better than conflict." As the celebration continued, General Vixthar approached Jack and Scout. The Krozil commander knelt down slowly, his eyes fixed on the golden retriever. "May I?" he asked, extending one hand cautiously. "Of course," Jack said. "Scout, stay." With trembling fingers, Vixthar gently touched Scout's golden fur. The dog remained perfectly still, his brown eyes watching the alien with calm acceptance. After a moment, Scout gave Vixthar's hand a small lick, causing the mighty general to let out a surprised chirp. "Remarkable," Vixthar said, slowly standing again. "Your ancestors called them man's best friend, I'm told." Jack nodded. "For thousands of years." "Perhaps," the general said thoughtfully, "the Void Horde will be less formidable against species who understand that strength comes in many forms." As they looked out through the station's vast windows at the stars beyond, Jack thought about the journey ahead. The Void Horde was still coming. Challenges remained between humans and Krozil. There would be misunderstandings and setbacks. But standing there, with Scout beside him and new allies surrounding them, Jack felt something he hadn't expected when that alien ship first appeared. Hope. "You know," he said to Vixthar, "when you first contacted us and said unleash the beast, this isn't exactly what you had in mind." The Krozil commander made the clicking sound that Jack now recognized as laughter. "No," Vixthar agreed, "but I believe it turned out much better than either of us could have imagined."